We turn now to a story that's getting a lot of people talking and also set to make history. Take a look at this. This is a social media post by Reuters. Australia is set to become the first country to implement a minimum age for social media use, with platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube forced to block more than 1 million accounts, marking the beginning of an expected global wave of regulation. So this is a live look right here of the Sydney Harbor as this ban is set to take effect later on today. A little bit more information. Australia's world first social media ban for under 16-year-olds will take effect at midnight today local time, forcing major platforms to block users or face heavy fines. All of this aimed to protecting children from harmful content and mental health risks. And this has been getting a lot of folks talking right here as social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Kick, Reddit, Snapchat, Threads, TikTok, X, YouTube, and Twitch will start facing fines after this ban is implemented at midnight if they fail to take reasonable steps to remove those accounts. Meta, which owns Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, was the first tech giant to react, beginning to exclude suspected young children last week. While the law allows parents no discretion to allow their children to hold social media accounts, there is a role for parents in regulating their social media use. So we want to bring you into the conversation because no doubt a lot of folks have an opinion. And we want to ask you if you agree with Australia's ban on social media for children under the age of 16. This is a live vote right here. 3 answers for you: yes, no, or it should be up to the parents. All you have to do is scan the QR code on the upper right-hand side of your screen and share with us your thoughts. A lot of parents have very strong feelings about whether their children should be allowed on social media, and the age, of course, is also a big part of this discussion. So this is a live poll right here. I know a lot of folks are getting ready for the day, probably taking your kids to school or getting ready for work yourself. But we did want to ask you, whether you have kids or not, do you think that Australia's ban on social media for children under the age of 16 is something that you agree with or not? Or should it be up to the parents? So we do see some live interaction already. Right now it's split 50-50 between yes, you do agree with the ban, and you also, 50% of you say it should be up to the parents. So this is going to be the very first country, Australia, to implement this social media ban. This is set to take place at midnight tonight, and Australia would become the very first country to enact a ban of social media platforms for children under the age of 16. So all of these platforms will have to then block anyone under the age of 16 or face heavy fines. So Instagram, if you're 16 and under in Australia, you can't be on it. Same with TikTok and YouTube, and a lot of these social media platforms are geared towards the younger generation. This is how a lot of younger people speak to their peers and their friends. They go on TikTok, they go on Instagram. That's how they keep in touch. That's how they stay connected. So this would impact millions of people. And Australia is the first, but it may not be the last, of course, depending on how all of this plays out. Right now, we do see that 83% of you or so agree with Australia's ban on social media for children under the age of 16. Just about 2% of you say no, you do not agree. And about 18% of you say it should be up to the parents. So this is a very new debate in terms of countries implementing a countrywide ban. But of course, a lot of lawmakers here in the United States have also been speaking on Capitol Hill about the dangers of social media, about the predators that could be on there, about the misinformation, about the social media pressures. So it is an interesting conversation. We, of course, always love to bring that conversation to you, the viewer. so you can share your perspective on this. So we are going to close out this poll in just a minute. We're going to keep it up for a little bit longer in case you didn't have your phone handy and you wanted to scan that QR code. But right now, it seems like an overwhelming amount of you who have participated in this poll agree with Australia's ban on social media for children under the age of 16. If you're just joining us at this hour here on Live Now from Fox, we did want to share with you a story that's making headlines. Australia is set to become the world's first country to implement a social media ban for children under the age of 16. That will take place at midnight tonight, and that is facing major platforms like YouTube and Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to either block users or face heavy fines. Now, lawmakers who supported this say that this is meant to protect children from harmful content or mental health risks. And this is being very closely followed by countries around the world who are also considering similar legislation. So we're going to close that poll out for you right now, but 80% of you so far say that you do support Australia's ban on social media for children under the age of 16. Just 2 say no, and 17% say it should be up to the parents.